Hello there, Seraphim17 once again. This is my Sinner Sacrifice for Redemption video walkthrough. We're taking on Slothful Yordo, and this is this is probably the weakest fight in the game. That being said, if you play this aggressively and you put yourself into some bad positions, Yordo and his gangbangers will live up to their name. They will get all up in there, and there's not really much you can do when the phalanx descends with thirst in its mind. But the fight is very similar to any of the larger scale fights in a Souls games, if you're familiar. So if you've ever done something like the Skeleton Kings, if you've ever done the Deacons of the Deep, the Congregation, any kind of multiple enemy fight where you have to manage a lot of things at the same time, you're probably going to have a pretty good advantage coming into this one. Something interesting too, on your first attempt, which is what this is, you will not get the opportunity to cheap shot this boss. But if you die and have to repeat it, if you sprint up to the boss and attack him, he will flip backwards twice and you can chase him down and attack him again. He will then flip backwards twice and you can pretty much segregate him from all of these other people at the very beginning of the fight on anything but the first run. On the first run, after the cutscene, he will start moving, but of course if you die, you can then manipulate him at the beginning for some really free damage. And the best way to damage Yordo is to run up to him and parry his spear attack. Parry him, it makes you invincible, then chase after him, do a running R2, parry him again, and keep doing that, and keep putting pressure on him, and keep making him attack you and parry him, and then he'll go into his second phase where he starts running away, and at that point the fight becomes a little bit easier. At this moment right now, the fight is kind of tricky, because Yordo is going to be very defensive, and all of his men are going to be fanning out, but they're not that... None of them really engage you unless you stem too close to them. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to make the boss kind of separate himself, and then I'm going to go in and attack him. If you do a running attack to the boss, you will traditionally hit him. If you knock him down, you can hit him when he's on the ground, and when he recovers after a hit, he will always roll away from you twice. He does it every single time. If you understand that he rolls away twice, you can then punish him accordingly and get separation from the rest of the unit here, the rest of his squad of people. But at this moment, if you get aggressive, people start poking, and these enemies can all poke at the same time. There's no limit on how many people can be attacking you. You can get attacked by like 10 guys at the same time if you get too close and you play too aggressively. So I'm going to be very methodical here, very defensive. I'm going to pick my shots, but just make sure that when you do get a shot, you can then deal a lot of damage. This is the toughest part, purely because nobody distances themselves enough for you to do anything too interesting. The moment he starts getting faster, this fight becomes easy, because he then becomes faster than his men, and the only men that will even challenge you at that point are the other men who pulled the giant claymores as well, the big old Zweihanders, the two-hander. So right now, just bide your time, nothing too aggressive. A couple things to bear in mind: if you throw the fire pots and they stand on them, you can get some nice passive damage. If you throw the javelin at the shields, it knocks back a lot of the enemies. Oh, this is a parry, by the way, so look at the iframes there. I actually tweeted that the parry didn't have iframes, but it's only if the person you parry gets out of the riposte while you're doing it. It's just a bug that I've discovered against the final boss. No doubt it'll happen to you if you're a bit lazy on the riposte. But do you see that? The enemies will attack from off screen, the enemies will be as aggressive to you as you are to them, so passivity is definitely the key here for just kind of picking your shots and isolating the target. If you do it on a second attempt, you can get him to the second phase at the very beginning of the fight, and it's really, really simple, and this fight can be done in about a minute or 2 minutes depending on how aggressive you are. But right now, I'm just kind of... This is me in, not necessarily frustration mode, but when I have to be patient, I'm just not very good at that. It's one of my weaknesses. I'm a fidgety guy. I'm always tapping a foot, or tapping my hand, or something along those lines. So something like this for me is kind of tricky. I wasn't looking forward to this fight, and then I got it on my first attempt, so I was really happy. I also don't know of any tricks. I don't know if any of the items does anything too interesting against the boss. Like, I know that you can throw spears at the phalanx and it can knock them over and stop the phase, but other than that, I don't know if there's anything unique you can do here. I was hoping you could do something with those flaming, like, I don't know what you would call those, some kind of fire pit. I know they're a type of lantern, some kind of mounted flaming pile. And here we go. This is when the fight gets really interesting. So, do you hear the music right now? Whenever he rings that trumpet, or that horn, whatever you want to call it, it's going to make these dudes do crazy things. And this is when you want to pick your spots. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw some spears at him, just to see what, you know, see what he does, see if I can isolate him. And right now, all his men are on me. That's a really good place to be. So now I can move towards him, but then he runs away. So I wait for it, I throw another one of the spears, I get some cheeky damage, because the spears do really respectable damage. So feel free to toss a few of those his way. But he has an uncanny ability to, the moment you think you can punish him, you kind of can't. But we're waiting for the sword, and I apologise that the achievement's popping up, guys. I've been playing this game for the last 2 days and none of these achievements have been popping up, and the moment I start recording they're all popping up, so I just think God hates me and I'm okay with that. So keep it slow, keep it steady. Something I should mention, which I haven't, there's no point in attacking his men. His unit infinitely spawns, they just seemingly keep coming. If they don't infinitely spawn, you must have killed a whole bunch of them, because I must have killed 15 of them and they kept coming. But do you notice how he's on his own? Parry him, riposte, check if anyone's on you, and then smack him on the ground a bit. And then if he stands up, he might even attack you again, so you can parry him again. But he runs away, he's probably going to pull his sword out. Oh no, he's casting more dudes at me. So this is really interesting. This is the traditional phalanx, where all of the men join into a circle with their shields to become an impenetrable defense, a bulwark against their enemies, and he stands in the middle throwing javelins at you. But if you throw one of yours at them, you knock them over and you stop that phase. And this is what we wanted. Do you notice how his stance has shifted? And now he's being really aggressive and he's very fast. Now he's going to do a spin attack, spin to win, and we're going to punish him. You can parry that move, but you don't have to. And the reason why I don't recommend parrying it in this phase is because they see the other guys that have also pulled the same sword. They have a tendency of having some really crafty oki. So when you come out of the invincibility, as I've been getting away, I've been clipped before on previous runs of this boss. So I like to just get a couple of free hits and then back away. But you can parry, and the parry is much quicker. And now, I'm kind of at the point in my head where I'm thinking, I can do this, I can no damage this will be a first attempt. That's really cool. And then these guys start doing their fast jog. So be careful of those, and then wait for the boss to do his thing. The boss will always roll away after this, but if you hit him soon enough, he can't really do much. You do have enough time to land a full combo on him if you have full stamina, but you don't necessarily have to. Patience is going to be key here. And here he comes again. Notice how he's way faster than the other guys in this phase. This phase is so much more easy than the previous one. If you can do those first ones, folks, you'll have no issue. Then again, I think I beat this boss on my first attempt, the first time I played the game. So I do think that Yordo, sorry. I call him Eddie Gordo, ignore me, I'm stupid. I think Yordo is probably going to be considered easily the easiest boss in this game, and if not the weakest from a design perspective, because the only thing he has going for him is the fact that he has a bunch of bitches who stab you with spears if you try to get aggressive. Everything else, pretty underwhelming, but that said, I still kind of like that fight. So thank you for watching, and you take care now.